So here we are in the snake room. I did decide to break this into two separate chunks because the video was just way too long. So the first clip you're going to see is my least favorite. You have somebody recording you and showing the animals, and there's definitely things that I could have done to improve that, such as her recording me, and then me recording the animal after that, just to put it on top of that clip. And I think that would still be a good look, but overall just that type of video just really isn't for me. So either way, I hope you find the demonstrations helpful and informative. And thanks for taking your time watching the first video and now this one. So here we are in the practical application portion of the video. And I want to just show, I guess, how I would record using different things. So the first, and what is going to be my least favorite, is going to be using the phone. Now, I have already figured out basically the settings I want to use through that Blackmagic app for this portion of the video. The next part is basically just kind of instructing your helper on what you want out of them, which is why this is probably my least favorite, because I want to do stuff the way that I want to do them, and I hopefully express what I want and desire from the person recording, to do it the way that I want it, basically, because I just want it done right. So for this part, all I need you to do is to hold this. I want you to get me from, I don't know, above thigh up in frame. And then I'm going to go in to, or I'm basically going to talk about the animal that I want to show off. And then you're going to get that. And then you're going to come closer as I'm, as I'm going to reach for the animal to bring the animal out. Right, so it's no secret that I like the Hurricane project, and one of my favorite animals in the collection is actually my Super Hurricane Hypo Rainbow Female, and she is looking absolutely phenomenal, and I do hope that we can use her for this coming season for breeding. So let's check her out. So here she is. And so at this point, basically just trying to get some decent video just of her. Again, it's reliant on your assistant getting everything that you need and or want. And I find, honestly, just moving the animal around slowly, you're going to get way better, basically video of that animal. So when you have them out, you can obviously just talk about the different pattern characteristics and stuff that you like, or just show them and how awesome they are. And, that is kind of how Miguel, I feel like, does his stuff, which, again, he does it really well because he has the personality for it. I don't. I want stuff done the way that I want it done, and I know that I can be a pain for it. I do like it in theory. Like, it's cool to be able to do that and to be like, oh, well, this is so cool. And then it's like, randomly, it's like, hey, let's check out this cool snake. And then, bam, now you have, like, this really cool baby. Hey. Why the attitude? Now you have this like really cool baby that you can show off, and it's like minimal editing and all that other stuff. But I want the creative control, and I want to have control over, I guess, what I'm showing in the video. And for me, that just doesn't happen whenever I have somebody else recording it, because I'm relying on them to do what mentally I want without being telepathic to tell them that. So now we will do the same thing, again using the phone, just how I would do it if I were recording myself. So here we are down in the snake room, and I just want to do a little bit of that practical application on how I would record a video. So right now we are using the iPhone with the Blackmagic app, and that's what I would use when using my phone to make sure that I have the correct exposure and correct white balance. And so basically the image isn't going to change while you're recording. And I would say that typically I would just use the back camera, although if you're just recording yourself, the back camera and the front camera, really not that big of a deal. Now, if you are recording and showing animals, I would definitely recommend using the back camera because you'd get a lot better detail and just overall those lenses are higher quality than I guess just the regular selfie cam. So I do want to cover a little bit on how I would put together both reels and a video. So first we're going to go over what I would do for just doing like a YouTube video, recording with my phone. The reel is going to be done similarly, just, basically a vertical format. So first I will typically edit out any kind of ums, ahs, and pauses, which there have been a lot so far because I do have my little notes with me on the different topics and different things that I'm going to cover, because I do think having those bullet points really helps and it keeps everything structured, which is basically, having the video and making it come together, right? So it's having your topic, having it planned out, i.e. having notes, looking at those notes, and then, cutting out the parts in between where you're just either not making sense, or you're really trying to get your thoughts together. So my format, regardless of whether you would use the phone or really any other camera, is going to be about the same. You want to have your topic. Typically, you'd want to have some form of an intro. Now I am going to start experimenting with a different kind of intro soon, and we are going to record how I'm going to do that in a little bit. And that's basically just going to be recording animals or whatever the subject matter is, or even like some sort of like scene or something like that of things that are relating to the video topic, right? So the animals that I'm going to be using today, Junior. So the animals I'm going to be using today for the instruction purpose of this video are going to be animals from a recent clutch that we had. And I figure I'm going to be making a video showing those animals, so I may as well use clips that I would already be taking, for that. So I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone. And so for that clutch, the title of the video that I already thought about was basically going to be Our First Puzzles, right? So that's going to be a video that's coming out soon. And that was from a pairing of breeding a hypo het puzzle to a GHI Mojave double het hypo puzzle. And I really want to show these babies, one, because they're our first visual puzzles and they're really pretty. And I do like putting out videos of the clutches and babies we produce, especially when there's something really cool and nice to look at, because I think people enjoy seeing that kind of stuff. So for me, I would basically just do the intro for the video, explaining kind of what everything was. And then I would do another portion of the video where I actually show and talk about some of the animals. So I'm not going to do that for every single animal, but I will pull out one or two and basically show those animals and show how I would record those. So let's get into, I guess, the intro that I would do. And then from there, we will record the animals and basically show, what I would do for that. And that is pretty much just showing a full body shot and then some closer detailed shots of the animal. And that overall is going to give people a good representation of the animal that you're trying to show. And another good thing about doing that is you can include that video in your Morph Market listing, so people can basically see that video of the animal as well as the photos that you post. And that typically, I think, helps with people asking questions to see extra pictures, because now they have a video of that animal and they potentially become more familiarized with you as well. So let's get into the intro for that video, and let me work through my thoughts and I will kind of figure out my intro for that. All right, so here we are for the portion of the video that is basically the intro, or the style for intros that I'm going to try and do, which is basically just going to be a clip of some animals or whatever else that makes sense for the topic of the video. And as I mentioned before, we're going to be talking about our hypo puzzle, clutch, or, where the goal was to make hypo puzzles. So for this, what I want to do is I basically want to have a couple of those animals crawling across each other over here. So I have my camera just set up on a tripod because that makes it easier for me. I do like those static shots because it's less to worry about. You can basically just focus on the animals and try and position them in a way that makes sense. So I am going to put down both of the GHIs, and then I'm going to have one of the hypo GHI Mojaves crawling over that with one of the puzzles in the background. At least that's the goal. So what I do want is a little bit of, oh, he's already pissed. So what I do want is a little bit of overlap here. So I am going to set them down And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to record all this so we see the whole process here. And then the female, I think, was nicer than the male hypo GHI Mojave. So hopefully what I'm going to do is I'm going to get her in a position where she wants to crawl. And I'm basically going to put her over the top of them, give her tail a little tickle. Nope, she's pissed too. Just crawl, come on. All right, well, she doesn't want to crawl. So I did shoot this one of many other times. So what I'm going to do is actually include that part of the video. So pretend that she is in fact crawling around. Now, the other thing that I would do to get a decent shot in this position would be to actually just kind of go handheld, which I prefer not to do, but you can get good quality out of it. All you're going to need to do is slow controlled movements, and mostly that's just kind of like leaning backward or turning to the side. So for me, I'm going to lean and pull. I have focus on her head, so I'm going to pull back slowly. And so I'm basically just rocking back on my heels, and that's going to give me a little bit of motion. And then likewise, I'm going to come down here on the puzzle pattern, and I'm going to kind of pull back and turn a little bit. And what this is going to give me is, again, a little bit of motion. And I didn't quite get the focus I wanted there. So I am going to turn it to manual focus, get focus on his side, and then kind of turn and pull. That's actually better. It's like right on his head. So I'm going to focus on his head and then push in. So I did like how that turned out. I'm going to try and get another shot basically just coming down the pattern on this female. So again, I'm going to just kind of pull back and just see what I get here. And now they are starting to move around a little bit, so I'm going to get my focus again, and then I'm going to try and just pull back, or maybe I'll even come in and then pull back. And then ideally, this is just going to create a group of shots that turns out pretty good. So get my focus there, and then I'm going to just maybe zoom out a little bit. That worked out pretty good. Let me see where we're at down here now. Okay, head in focus. Okay, I think that turned out really good. So now we have some decent clips of these animals, and we can turn this into, like, I don't even know, like a 5 to 10 second intro with a little bit of music before we get into the talking portion of the video for this clutch. There we have it. That is the intro that I would basically use for the video. I'm undecided if I'm actually going to be using these clips for it, but overall that's good enough. I think it very clearly talks about what we are going to be showing in the video. It basically covers, you know, what we have. It gives them something to maybe look forward to. They're going to see babies that we're potentially going to have available. They're going to see a baby that we're potentially going to hold back. I'm not trying to be clickbaity. I'm not trying to have some strange like thing that's going to trick people into watching my video. That's just not for me, and I don't like that stuff personally. So now let's record some of the babies and how I would show those, and you know, using the phone. So let's get to that. All right, so we are going to do this a little Quentin Tarantino style. So I'm not going to film the intro yet because I want to film basically the babies in the hand, because that's a little bit easier for me. Now I am holding this paper towel roll because I will be using the Blackmagic app, and I want to be able to set my white balance. So you can use a gray card, which is in my camera bag somewhere, or you can use this. So basically I go into the Blackmagic app, I use this to be able to set my white balance here. Let's see. And then I'm going to lock it. And then basically from there, I'm going to pull out whichever babies I want to show for this portion of the video. And then I'm going to basically try and get that full body shot, the close-up detail shots. And I do have my phone a little bit away from a background. And that background is basically, don't mind the lighting here, is basically just this rack. So that way, here, move that there. So that way, we have a good, 5 feet or so in between like the phone and the rack. And that basically is just going to create a little bit of separation. And I also have this light up here, which is the same one that I used when I was talking. And overall, the lighting in my room isn't that bad, but that just kind of fills in the shadows and gives a little bit different of a look. For the phone, the lighting definitely makes a big difference. When you're using a more professional camera, it's like it does, but it still makes a big difference, but it's more noticeable because the quality is just different. But for a phone, I think it helps out a lot. It makes the overall video just look a little bit better, and it makes it look like you put more effort into the end result. So let's get one of the babies out and see what it looks like. All right, so the first one we have here is a GHI Mojave, so I'm just going to go through my spiel as if I were talking about this and putting in a video. So right here we have a GHI Mojave that was genetically tested to be double het for hypo and puzzle. It is a male, and I really, really love just the swirls and the pattern that these guys have. Such a cool look. With how dark Mojaves are, or with how dark GHIs are rather, it's such a really beautiful, beautiful combo, and it looks even better when you put hypo in there. So let's move them around a little bit. Now I could basically just take that audio and then put it over whatever sequence of videos. So while those conversations are genuine about the animal, I am going to try and manipulate him a little bit now, and then I'm going to basically use those different clips to kind of get a different series of video that we can use to basically show off this animal that work a little bit better. So maybe something a little bit dramatic where it's like up close and then kind of pull away a little bit, full body shot. And then we're going to try and get some of those side patterns that he has, which look really cool. Slow, deliberate movements. And then again, kind of open them up a little bit. Move them through the frame. And see, so I think those 3 shots that I just got of having him up close and then pulling him away, getting close-up detailed side shots, and then the other one just of him really nice and opened up, I think those 3 shots are going to look way better. So I'll just take the audio from the clip and then use that over those shots of this animal. So now I'm going to switch over to grabbing a different male. So here we have a GHI Mojave Hypo 100% het puzzle, and he does have the attitude of that. And he is most likely our holdback, but you can see he's super tense, and I really look forward to using him for the GHI Mojave Hypo Puzzle project. And what a phenomenal color and pattern. Initially in the egg, I actually thought he might have been a puzzle just because he has so much side pattern, but turns out that is not the case. Now here is his sister, which is a GHI Mojave Hypo, not het for puzzle. She has a little bit better of an attitude, but she's a little on edge because the brother tried to bite her because I was trying to get a cool little comparison between the two. But here she is, beautiful color. I really, really like the steel blue that these things have. And GHI Mojaves are gorgeous, but throwing hypo in the mix just makes it even better. And And then, because I did title the video, Our First Puzzles, it would make sense that I show a puzzle. So I'm going to pull that one out, and then we're going to get a clip of him. And then afterwards, I'm going to show you what basically the finished result would be by, showing the intro with the animals. And it's basically a YouTube video. So now I can basically come around the camera and just kind of look and see where I'm at, move him accordingly, and then kind of go from there. So right here we have our first puzzle that we produced. This is a puzzle 100% het for hypo, and he has already spoken for. So Krista had picked him up from Reptiles? Reptile Exotics? Now I feel terrible forgetting. But either way, beautiful, beautiful animal. He does also have a little bit of the puzzle attitude, but I really do like his pattern. He has the beautiful eye stripes. He has a very connected pattern, and it's one of those no question puzzles. So really happy with how this guy turned out. I really wish that we would have hit our visual, at least a GHI hypo puzzle. That would have been really cool. That was actually what I was really hoping for. Or even a hypo puzzle male would have been huge for us. But I am happy that we hit this guy, and I'm happy that Krista is going to be able to use him, and look forward to seeing what she does with him. All right, so that is pretty much all I would need to do for this video. I do have one other animal to show, but it's already long enough as it is. Hey, sir. These guys have attitudes, I'm telling you, but they eat really well, so there's that. So the only thing left to do would basically be to film an outro, and that's going to be the same as how we filmed the intro. And you can do whatever you want, call to action, whatever, something where it makes people want to comment or, be involved in the video, share their opinion, whatever. So overall, pretty easy. Make sure you have a little bit of separation, mess around with that Black Magic app so that way you lock in your settings, and then you can, basically have control of what the image looks like, proper exposure, proper color balance, things like that, just so you show your animals off well.
I'm so in love with you. You got me down again.
So the video you just seen was a couple of clips of some of the beautiful animals we produced recently, and that was a pairing from a hypo het puzzle bred to a GHI Mojave double het hypo puzzle, and I really love how these babies looked, and I'm pretty happy with the odds, although we did miss, spoiler alert, our GHI Mojave hypo puzzle. I do hope that in the future we can hit that, because I really do want that, but we do have a holdback from the clutch, and we will show him to you as well. Right here we have a GHI Mojave that was genetically tested to be double het for hypo and puzzle. It is a male, and I really, really love just the swirls and the pattern that these guys have. Such a cool look. With how dark Mojaves are, or with how dark GHIs are rather, it's such a really beautiful, beautiful combo, and it looks even better when you put hypo in there. So here we have a GHI Mojave hypo 100% het puzzle, and he does have the attitude of that, and he is most likely our holdback, but you can see he's super tense, and I really look forward to using him for the GHI Mojave hypo puzzle project. And what a phenomenal color and pattern. Initially in the egg, I actually thought he might have been a puzzle just because he has so much side pattern, but turns out that is not the case. Now here is his sister, which is a GHI Mojave hypo, not het for puzzle. She has a little bit better of an attitude, but she's a little on edge because the brother tried to bite her, because I was trying to get a cool little comparison between the two. But here she is, beautiful color. I really, really like the steel blue that these things have. And GHI Mojaves are gorgeous, but throwing hypo in the mix just makes it even better. So right here we have our first puzzle that we produce. This is a puzzle 100% het for hypo, and he has already spoken for. So Krista had picked him up from Neurify Exotics. Neurify Reptiles? Neurify Exotics? Now I feel terrible forgetting. But either way, beautiful, beautiful animal. He does also have a little bit of the puzzle attitude, but I really do like his pattern. He has the beautiful eye stripes. He has a very connected pattern, and it's one of those no question puzzles. So really happy with how this guy turned out. I really wish that we would have hit our visual, at least a GHI hypo puzzle. That would have been really cool. That was actually what I was really hoping for. Or even a hypo puzzle male would have been huge for us. But I am happy that we hit this guy, and I'm happy that Krista is going to be able to use him, and look forward to seeing what she does with him. So here we are still on the phone, and I'm curious, what your thoughts are. Do you think the quality of the video has changed that much? Do you think it still looks good? Do you think it looks good enough? The goal with this video is basically to show that the phone is good enough. Matter of fact, I think if you have either decent enough information that you're putting out there, or something interesting that you want to show, which could just be your experience, either with your clutches or your collection or whatever, that people are going to watch it, they're going to be interested, and they want to see like what you're going through or what you're dealing with. And another point of this video that I wanted to make was that while yes, like the video quality matters, phones these days, the quality is so good that a phone is good enough. Like the majority of people that are watching your videos, they're not going to care. Now, you do want to make sure that you have good audio. Now, I did mention before that I use the DJI Mic 2, and I really like it. I feel like it's super clear. It's wireless. You can plug it right into your phone, well, the transmitter into your phone, or you can sync it with Bluetooth, and it's really clear. And overall, the audio from that is going to be way better than an iPhone. So right now, we've been using the DJI Mic 2 for all of the audio in this video, and here, this is what the audio from the iPhone sounds like. It's not that bad, but you are going to pick up the background noise, which right now is basically going to be the hum of my incubator, and that wouldn't be that exciting for an entire video. Back to the Mic 2. It's a lot clearer, easier to understand, and I think it's not going to be nearly as distracting when people are watching your video. And there are other options for wireless mics or different mics that you can use for your phone. So I'm going to find some of those that I've either seen or heard good reviews on and include those down in the description. All right, so the next order of business would be basically using the phone to record a reel. And it's going to be done a similar way. I'm basically just setting the phone up in a vertical format. And then again, the formula for me anyway is I like to get at least like 2 or 3 different clips. You could just do one if you get like a really good shot and you want to just use that, but most of the reels are a very short duration of time. So I do like to get again, a full body shot and some sort of close-up detail shot of like the pattern. And then oftentimes a shot of like the head or the face, just because they have such cute little faces. So it's really cool to show. So those little puzzle animals are pretty feisty. So I'm going to use a different animal for that. And actually, I might not use that one. That one's a little bit big, but let's see what it looks like anyway. Let's give it a try. I'm going to potentially change the lens here to like the 24mm so I have a little bit more space. Yeah, that looks okay. And then I'm going to turn the light back over this way so that way I have a little bit more kind of light on the subject here, which is basically my hand. I just want to make sure that overall, like I have the framing that I want. And while I don't typically use racks as like a background for the sake of this video, I think it's a lot easier to do this with the phone than it is to use my other setup. Now I will use the other setup with my Sony camera to show how I record a reel there. Although it's very similar, I just like using this because there's a lot more separation from the background versus if I use like my little color wall there. I will not get the same kind of separation. So let's pull a snake out and give it a try. So in light of showing hypo animals, I figured I would show off this one, which this isn't going to look that great most likely, but it is a hypo stranger female. She is going to be featured in another video coming up soon. So let's just get her out here. So again, I'm just going to hit record because I never know when I'm going to miss a spot. I try and get their head out. There we go. So bring her in and then pull her out. And then I can kind of come in later on the video and I'm going to bring this down just a smidge here. Oh, too much. There we go. Because I'm getting a little bit too much shadow on her side because I do want to show that side really well. So having a little bit of motion in your video I think also helps. So sometimes them just kind of crawling around can help. And that looks pretty cool. And then I'm going to see if I can get like head and pattern coming in at the same time. She moved a little fast for me there. Okay, my hand wasn't as smooth there, but like, that's okay. So I think overall that turned out decent enough. So I'm going to basically show what the finished result of this would be as like an edited reel. So another option is using the DJI Pocket 3, which is what I use for most of my outdoor videos. And overall, I really like it. You can do different things where it's going to follow you around and track you. It automatically syncs with the mic that I was talking about, which I have connected to this little lapel guy here, which I apologize for touching the mic. That was probably a very loud and obnoxious sound. Now, overall, I do like this. I wouldn't necessarily use it in the snake room setting. If you do want something where you can actually see yourself and make it very easy for yourself to, I guess kind of see what you're doing, I do like it. I think the quality of this thing is great. I think that you can show stuff really well, and you could also use it really well to show your animals. Although it does have a really wide field of view at 24 millimeters, it may not be the best thing to show your animals, but it's not going to be that bad. So again, same thing. I would do whatever kind of intro. I am going to basically try and use the Pocket to record and show this animal here, which is a fire lace, which I'm going to talk about whenever I show the animal. Let's just say a cool snake we produced last year, and I'm excited to grow it up. So it's going to be quick. I'm not going to try and bore you and do all this other stuff. So here we have a fire lace 100% het sunset. And if she cooperates with me, so this was a bit of a Who's Your Daddy clutch because we bred an Xanthic clown and our sunset male to our white lace pastel fire female. And you can just tell, if she lets go my pinky, you can just tell that the quality in the white lace really is something. And, that's not a good look. The quality in the white lace really passed down into the babies here. And you can see a little bit of that popcorning on the sides. And overall, the blacks are just super black, and the creams and yellows are really creamy. So really trying not to get bit, because she definitely wants a piece of my finger. Let me readjust her. Hold on one second. So there we go. So we have a fire lace 100% het sunset. She has a really, really nice pattern. I love the dark blacks. I love what fire does to these ball pythons, and I really look forward to seeing eventually what the sunset version of this snake is. I would maybe talk about that a little bit more as far as like in detail of my hopes and aspirations for the project, whatever, show the other one that we have. But for the sake of this video, I would basically just do the outro. Are you working with lace? What kind of lace stuff do you want to do in the future? And, let me know down in the comments below what you like about the lace project. Do you think it's going to overtake Desert Ghost? And there you have it. That would be basically using the DJI to record and, shoot a YouTube video. And overall, I do think that this is a little bit of a step up from the phone. I have been basically using the DJI to record the booths and stuff, and then I've been using my phone to record the animals. And overall, I think they've done really well. And again, that just goes to show that you don't need a bunch of fancy gear and all this other stuff to get decent videos. And I think overall, most of the people are going to enjoy those, like them, and they're not really going to notice a big difference in quality. So this is basically how I set up all my reels. So I just have my camera that I use up on the tripod, my screen facing me, and then I have also, let's see if I can get a decent shot of it. So here I have my incubator with my blue background. I like that because it contrasts quite a bit, and overall I think it looks pretty good. So I do have this light here, and again that is to just kind of fill in the shadows. So it's basically the same thing as we had done before. So for this, I do like using this lens here, which is a 18 to 50 millimeter macro lens. I really like the lens. I think it gives really good compression of the animals, and it's really sharp, and it's going to be the same thing. I want a full body shot, a close-up of the details of the animal, and then, you know, some kind of motion. I think that gives an overall really good look for a reel, and they don't have to be very long. So just like before, I'm going to show the whole process, and then I'm going to show the ending where I have like the various clips that I liked from that put down into like a little 7-second thing. So let's find an animal to do this reel. So I've decided to go with a blood python. At the recent shows we went to, a lot of people really appreciated and liked the look of these. So I am hoping that she is cooperative for this reel, and we'll see how it goes. So she's got a great position right now, so I'm just going to move her closer to the camera and get her face in focus, do a little rotation. I think that would actually look pretty good. No, chill out. So now I want to try and get like a full body shot here. So I'm going to come in here, and then I'm going to pull, get your head in focus. And then I'm going to pull out a little bit. And that's a cool shot too. Let's rotate a little. You got to keep in mind that the bottom of a reel is basically cut off because of the all the little like, shares, comments, or whatever, like all that stuff. So I try not to have too much stuff on the bottom of the frame. I try and keep it up in the top part. So let's keep her moving. She is a little active. Oh, stay right there, right there. So here she is. I'm gonna pull her out here. A little rotation. Nice. And these things have such beautiful color, so I'm going to try and get some of that black and gold color on there. And then the name that these guys get is a golden eye. So I do want to show her golden eyes. That's perfect. I'm going to try and get greedy here and do a little rotation and get a full body shot too, I think. So I am hoping that that should be enough. She wasn't as cooperative as I thought, but I think we got some really cool shots, and we will see how it turns out. So here we are on the Sony. So we have the same setup as before. We have the light here, the camera here, and you see my little wall that I basically do my reels on right back there. So is the quality better? Yeah, sure it is. It's a way more expensive camera. The sensor size is much larger, so you're going to get a lot more separation from the background. Overall, it's going to be a better image. But how much better? Is it something that you want, or is it something that you need? Now, I think overall, and I hope this video has done a good job pointing out that you can use a phone. You can get good enough video quality with your phone, and you get a mic on top of that. I think you're going to be in a really good spot. And the majority of people that are going to be watching your videos, they don't care. A lot of the people, as I mentioned before, you know, Miguel, earlier Justin videos, Antoine, Mike from Balls of Fury, even like Billy from Mutation Creation, all those guys basically use their phones, and they get really good video quality. A lot of people watch their videos. I don't even think they use an additional mic. Now, they may have a different room situation where they're not going to be getting the incubator noise, fan, and all that other stuff. But in general, the majority of people aren't going to care what you record on. They just want to hear about your experience. They want to see what kind of projects you have going on. And overall, I think the phone is good enough for that. Now, if it's something that you like, something that you enjoy, sure, upgrade, pick up, either like the DJI Pocket 3 or a Sony mirrorless camera. I prefer Sony myself because the autofocus is great, and overall the usability is just really nice. I mean, I'm a big fan of it. Like I said, I use the FX30. There's plenty of other Sony cameras that work great, and I'm going to link the ones that I know have seen to have good reviews and other ones that I've messed with before down in the description if you're interested in actually using one of those. But I think use your phone first. Try and see what you can get. Make some videos out of that and see where it goes. See if you enjoy doing it. See if you like doing it. See if you can stay consistent, because you don't want to waste a bunch of money on a camera that you're not going to use, that you're not going to learn. Especially when you have an app like the Blackmagic app where you can have manual controls of your phone and get decent enough video there to throw together some really good videos for your YouTube or for your Instagram. I do want people to be successful. I want people to come to my videos and watch them throughout. I want people to come to your videos and watch them throughout. I want people to get through the video and be like, okay, well, I gained something from this. Not be like, what even happened? Like, that was way too much information, which, again, I know this one is. So if you want, you can reach out. I'm willing to give people honest feedback of what you can do to potentially improve your YouTube or Instagram or whatever it is that you're working on. I'm willing to give people honest feedback. And I think right now, honest feedback is what a lot of people need. I think there is way too much blind support, and I don't try and say that in a bad way. I just mean it in a sense of, right now you have a lot of people that'll tell you, oh my God, so amazing, that's great. And sometimes, and it's not to be a jerk, it's not to be a hater or anything like that, sometimes I do feel like you need people that are in your corner that will tell you, maybe that's not the play. And I've got plenty of friends that I can talk to and bounce ideas off of, and sometimes they're like, hey, yeah, maybe not that. So if you care to, reach out and I'll check out your Instagram or your YouTube or whatever, and then give you a little bit of feedback on stuff that I think that you can potentially improve. Let me know if this video helped you, if you feel at least a little bit more confident that you can use even just your phone to get decent video. If you think the structure of doing the videos, as far as doing an intro, recording the animals separately, so that way it's something less for you to worry about. If you found that, formula helpful, and let me know if you want anything covered in more depth, which I know, again, this was a lot, as far as like using the Blackmagic app or whatever. Just let me know and I'll work on it. Thanks for taking your time and watching this extremely long video.